Good afternoon from Los Angeles, California. I'm Dr. Ryan Ava. It's the rush towards an attempted legal surrender by a top Trump aide with a written cooperation of Donald Trump himself. Indeed, while other Trump aides have testified about January 6th, even Trump's own family, none have ever done so with Donald Trump himself weighing in writing, in what could be called a semi-cooperative or arguably an attempt to fold. All of this is a type of breakthrough that speaks volume to the stakes here and shaping up as one of the House committee's most aggressive and decisive legal victories, as White House veteran and 2016 campaign chair Steve Bannon makes this move at an attempted partial legal surrender. He's offering a type of last-minute bid to try to cut a deal and cooperate with the January 6th committee. He's saying he wants to testify before the committee. If nothing else, it seems that the pressure has gotten to Mr. Bannon.
Steve Bannon makes this move at an attempted partial legal surrender. He is offering a type of last-minute bid to try to cut a deal and cooperate with the January 6th committee. He is saying he wants to testify before this committee. He's saying that now he will deal with them. He will talk, and if he did so under oath, that's a new legal obligation, and he'll do so despite the many months of defiance that we've all experienced if you follow the news. Bannon even arranging a letter from Trump himself which aims to explain this huge reversal.
It is noteworthy that Congress did not negotiate nor wait on Bannon. The committee made an assertive and unusual hardball decision to immediately hold Bannon in contempt when he defied the House committee's subpoena and to immediately push for the DOJ to indict him, which it did. That is why Bannon now is facing up to 2 years in prison. And that is why his tough talk has begun melting with his effort to cut a deal. Steve Bannon, a former trusted advisor to Donald Trump, now says he will testify and he wants to do so publicly. Donald Trump now says he will waive the claims of executive privilege, I shall say the non-existent executive privilege, if Bannon reaches an agreement to speak with the committee. Now, recall the speech by Bannon claiming the House committee to be noise?
This is the complete charade that's in 6th January committee.
The House is voting right now to find Trump ally Steve Bannon in contempt of Congress for brazenly defying a subpoena from the January 6th Select Committee.
This is going to be the misdemeanor from hell for Merrick Garland, Nancy Pelosi, and Joe Biden. We're going to go on the offense. We're tired of playing defense. We're going to go on the offense on this.
Steve Bannon, a former trusted advisor to Donald Trump, now says he will testify, and he wants to do so publicly.
I want you guys to stay focused, stay on message. Remember, signal, not noise. This is all noise, that's signal.
Donald Trump now says he will waive that claim of executive privilege if Bannon reaches an agreement to speak with the committee.
Well, the latest shows those speeches on the courthouse steps were the noise produced for mostly the MAGA crowd that may naively still believe. All that is just like those live stream videos and the podcast bravado, which is Bannon's specialty. That is the noise. The signal is this actual shift from defiance to asking the committee to help him cut a deal, so he might avoid the risk of going to prison. To, quote, testify, as Bannon's lawyer puts it in writing, adding for a preference for doing so at, quote, your public hearing, end of quote. Now, sometimes I must state the obvious around here, so let me state it. Mr. Bannon, a defendant awaiting trial, is not in much of a position to negotiate about the venue or the forum of said testimony, considering he is currently facing what will be a mandatory public trial and then a very private and constricting prison cell if convicted. And let me add this. This is not your wedding ceremony, sweetheart, nor it is your Sweet 16 celebrations. A larger point here is this attempt to cooperate at all. And the question is why? Why now? Simply put, the door is closing quite clearly for Mr. Bannon. to claim any actual cooperation because 1, the committee is down to its last hearings, and 2, his criminal trial begins this week, literally. Now, if this is simply a tactic to delay next week's trial, which many skeptics, including yours truly, who are familiar with Bannon's operations would reasonably see as a possibility, well, any delay tactic has just failed and fallen flat on its face. Late last week, a judge ruled that this trial will continue on the schedule and rejected other Bannon's long shots like this request to subpoena Pelosi for January 6 investigators.
It's too little, too late for Steve Bannon, a judge just ruling in the last hour or so that his new willingness to testify before the Select Committee won't play any role.
Likewise, committee leaders say they will not be giving Bannon any special public hearing as requested in that letter, but they are open to having him come and talk. That is why they held him in contempt in the first place. It was the punishment for him not doing what so many others have done, which is to comply with the lawful request to tell the truth. Now, if you pull back from the noise, to use the word of the day, and pull back from the atrocities, here is the analysis of what is happening. The most defiant Trump aide involved in this probe is folding and trying to cut a deal, and doing so with Donald Trump's written cooperation, or at least the PR optics version of asserting that. And again, we can bring skepticism to aspects of this, but the big picture to why this is happening is because pressure works. Pressure from this committee, which, as mentioned, has done things a little differently. Pressure from the DOJ when it decides to prosecute insurrection and obstruction cases in contempt cases seriously with vigor. It appears that pressure works, even on some of those people whose entire life and brand is around claiming that they are imperious and impervious to this. Much of this comes down to fear. On that day, January 6th, so many brave public servants, public officers, and members of Congress, including Vice President Pence, were subjected to the fear of a criminal mob summoned and rallied and organized by Donald Trump. And that was wrong. And much of that, if not all of it, was criminal. Convictions have been made. Crimes have been proven. It was a criminal assault not only on democracy, but on the brave and innocent people conducting themselves and trying to defend it. Fear is powerful. If you take nothing else from this, it will appear that Mr. Steve Bannon is the one who is afraid. Afraid of trial, afraid of prison, afraid of acting on the propaganda that he spewed at his supporters for a long time. That fear, which can focus the mind, is an instrument of the criminal justice system. To see more videos like this and to support my work, click the subscribe button here on the screen. You may also follow me on Medium, where I write about the most important topics daily, or check out my podcast, Dr. Ryan Alva Show, on Apple or Spotify or wherever you listen to your podcast.